400,000 years ago, a new human enters the world. He is the first representative of an extraordinary species, Homo Sapiens, our family. Their children cross seas and mountains. They adapt to every climate. Repeatedly, they lose everything, but they push beyond their limits and always succeed in surviving. They discover agriculture and tame animals. They build villages and transform landscapes. Humans become the most powerful creatures in the animal kingdom. They explore their imaginary world and, in the process, discover the magic of art and dreams. For over 50,000 generations, their knowledge has been passed on to us. We are their children. What is their true story? How did they inhabit the earth? How did they shape our lives? Where are they now? This is the story of the dazzling rise of our great family, Homo Sapiens. How did this story begin? How did our species appear? Where did it come from? Remember, 8 million years ago, the planet suddenly cooled. Water was locked in ice, and a massive ice cap formed over Europe and northern Asia. Life had to adapt to the cold. In the tropics, life struggled to survive the drought. In Africa, great apes saw their forests disappear. Two of them, Ororan and Tumai, adapted to the savanna and invented a new way of moving. They stood upright. 4 million years ago, they disappeared, giving birth to a new, better adapted species, Australopithecus. Lucy and her companions continued to walk upright. They survived by eating tough plants but eventually died. They had no defense against predators. Then Homo habilis appeared. The skilled man was the first true representative of the human species. He invented tools, began exploring, and traveled the world. His evolution transformed him into Homo erectus, the upright man, the discoverer of fire. He was not yet the king of the animal world, but he had made a great leap. Erectus set out to conquer the world. He left Africa and entered Asia and Europe. Unknowingly, a few thousand small groups of men and women prepared the way for the arrival of our species. Imagine 400,000 years ago. We are in the heart of Africa. Homo erectus sometimes walked up to 50 kilometers a day to survive. He chased small animals, gathered berries, and dug roots for himself and his people. Many times, he died along the way. At best, he lived about 25 to 30 years. They felt losses deeply, but it did not confuse them. Erectus knew nothing of the mystery of death. Where did the breath go? Why does the body not move? Meanwhile, danger lurked behind them. Life and death were the law. Their bodies were left to the animals. They would remember the person for a while, but the memory would fade. When Erectus settled for the night, he first built a shelter to protect himself, then made fire to keep predators away. He could make all kinds of tools but could not use them for a woman carrying a child. She had eaten nothing but roots for days. She needed protein. She no longer wanted roots. The Erectus chief knew well that he had failed to find game. He knew roots were bitter and did not satisfy hunger. He did not need reminding. Erectus was curious and eager to discover new things. Although the chief had heard this noise before, today he enjoyed it in the echoing sound. Suddenly, it did not echo, nothing. It was better to press his ear to it. Homo erectus was a hunter. At dawn, the chief and his brother followed the fresh tracks of a two-legged creature. They knew it was a fast runner, so they planned, one would distract it while the other waited, ready to strike. Termites, irresistibly yellow. The chief knew everything about the two-legged creature. He was obsessed with its eggs, knowing each personally. If any went missing, he would throw a fit. The chase was on, everything went according to plan. The brother managed everything to create chaos. The animal could not escape. Everything was fine. It was a good day for Erectus. He began by eating stomachs filled with fresh plants, then cut the animal to take it back to the camp. Images of the capture filled the chief's mind. The animal had been easy to catch after falling into the pit. A thought came, but flies distracted him. Erectus' body became less hairy. Insects constantly attacked his exposed skin, especially sensitive areas, but the brothers' genitals were safe. That was animal skin. With protective skin, flies did not bite. Perhaps this is how Erectus invented clothing. The hierarchy determined meat distribution. Predators ate first, then favored women, reserved for preferred pieces. The woman carrying a child now had meat. Erectus felt pride in fulfilling his duty as chief and protector. When in power, you learn to watch your back, because someone is always ready to take your place. His skin, he had forgotten it. It was his skin, his place, and he was the chief. Some things are not shared, like a woman carrying a child, like pain or hope. The chief's mind was filled with images. He could not stop thinking about a pit, so he decided to dig where the animal drank, hoping they would fall like the two-legged creature. Mud changed their form. The chief was amazed, he did not recognize his brother. Perhaps they invented laughter. Perhaps humanity's first laugh, but also the discovery of beauty, thanks to a stone unlike any other. He found it beautiful, so the stone became a treasure to admire. It was his stone, the chief's mark. The chief wanted the woman carrying the child to see the stone, but now was not the time. She was in severe pain. She instinctively knew what to do. The chief was filled with hope, the trap, the protective skin, and the stone. The child, would it come? Once, it was born without a breath, like those who fall on the path. Sometimes, the pain kills the woman too. Would a new life begin? It lived, a little girl. Her head was strange, with a straight forehead, and her skin was hairless. She seemed delicate and fragile. The chief did not want the cold to steal her breath. He now knew his skin was no longer for him, it was for the child. Without knowing it, they had just given birth to a new species of human, one that would soon replace them. Homo erectus realized his time was complete, and he held the future in his arms. Homo erectus would disappear, having lived for over 1,000,000 years. Homo sapiens arrived. He would change human life and conquer the world. Erectus' evolution into sapiens occurred over hundreds of generations. Gradually, his body became slimmer, his forehead smoother, his brain larger and more complex. Sapiens left Africa and explored the Middle East. He began wearing clothing, developed a sense of beauty, and made tools. His thoughts and imagination transformed him into a new human. We are now 100,000 years ago. Storms were worst, deadly every time. Where did the dazzling light come from? Who unleashed the fury that shook our skulls? One among us would find an answer to the great mystery of death. He was called Nika, a young one. Since he learned to hunt, Nika protected his mother and little sister. The tribe had set out at dawn. The wind suddenly rose, and the sky unleashed fire. The chief sought shelter but found none. We clung together, waiting for nature's wrath to subside. Naoki, Nika's sister, was scared and ran. Her mother followed to protect her. Then tragedy struck Nika's life. A horned animal appeared, struck by lightning. Nika cried, the animal went away, leaving her sister's body and mother on the ground. They were motionless. Nika could not protect them and felt responsible. They had to move. The chief soon realized the breath had left them, but Nika refused to believe it. They denied hearing or seeing what others had done. They were dead, and nothing could be done. The chief wanted to leave quickly, but Nika wanted to wait until they awoke. The chief did not understand but could not leave Nika, so we stayed. Initially, it was just for one night. Sapiens were nomadic. They built shelters from hides. Their language was more refined, with words for abstract concepts like past and future. Their memory grew, and they could form more associations. Their imagination became more active and potent, their dreams more powerful. In sleep, sapiens believed they traveled to another world, a parallel realm just behind their eyes. The tribe still slept. A horned animal came to drink at the river. The body of such a creature meant meat for the tribe. For Nika, it was the same horned animal that had appeared the day before with great light. At that time, the chief was inexperienced. The wound could kill him. The chief felt pride, thanks to him, the tribe would have food for weeks. But Nika's mind was elsewhere. She heard her sister moaning in the dying breaths of the animal. At that moment, the animal died. Unimaginable events occurred. As its breath vanished, her sisters returned. How was this possible? Naoki, breathe. She came back to life. Thus, Naoki returned to us. We were happy, but Nika was busy trying to understand what had happened. Did the animal give its breath to her sister? Did the animal's death allow Naoki to live? It was a great mystery. The chief expected thanks for the catch, but instead, the tribe was taken by Nika and a miracle. Nika received new hope. Perhaps the animal's skin had protected her mother, allowing her to breathe again. Initially, everyone said Nika's mind was broken. She was obsessed with the idea that a horned animal could restore her mother to life. We hoped Nika's mother would return. Yet we did not understand her behavior. She did not eat. She stayed by the corpse, waiting for a sign. The sign came from above, the vultures, who came to take the corpse. Nika refused. If the vultures took her mother's flesh, no breath could ever return. Perhaps this was the day Homo sapiens invented the first burial site. It protected the body, but more importantly, kept a broken body from sight. Without vultures, the body slowly disappeared. The chief wanted Nika to eat, offering her a preferred piece, which she never took. What he wanted was for Nika to understand her magic. He wanted to know how Nika restored Naoki to life, but he was about to witness another wonder. Nika said her mother now lived in the other world and needed food. He was astonished, yet the young woman gave her meat to her mother. It was more than enough, she no longer needed food. She was dead. Some of us began to believe in this world where we went while asleep, where we could meet the dead. It was the land of dreams. A few days later, 3 members of the tribe decided to leave. There were many of us, and quarrels arose constantly. They wanted to find another tribe, another chief. They could no longer stay. Before leaving, they wanted to hear again the images Nika had seen behind her eyes, to remember them and take them along. Nika could see the other world, where the dead went when their breath left them. She saw her mother with the horned animal. Her mother looked at her as if to say, "It's okay." She was no longer hungry or cold. In her eyes, a glow indicated that life continued elsewhere, life after death, and it changed everything. These beliefs were perhaps the beginnings of religious thought, an extraordinary flight of imagination that would enrich sapiens with unprecedented power and faith. The idea of eternity spread to all, easing the pain of death. Now humans could imagine life beyond their existence. The era of shamanic beliefs had begun, a world of spirits alongside the living. We are between 100,000 and 50,000 years ago. Sapiens explored nearly all regions of the planet. Some went toward Asia, others toward Europe. Why risk life in an unknown world? Were they following game migrations, signs from nature? Many believed in the power of the sun and moon. 50,000 years ago, the first Homo sapiens group arrived in southern Europe. This tribe worshipped the sun. Its sudden disappearance at noon terrified them. A woman entered a trance to fight the devourers of light. The sun returned. The woman guiding them was a shaman named Nada, the eldest of 3 sisters. For Nada, darkness was a bad omen, the sun had to be strong for the tribe's survival. They faced the vast Alps, yet their faith kept them going. Sapiens encountered the white land for the first time. Their feet burned. It shaped to the skin they walked upon. To protect themselves from the cold, they invented shoes. No determination could stop the shaman, they had to continue climbing. Their skin tingled, and hands and feet began to freeze. They wished to retreat, but none dared challenge Nada. The shaman led the tribe. Among sapiens, matriarchy was widespread. Women held rights and were responsible for the tribe's future, men followed. A mute had lost an ear. No blood, no pain. How to restore it? Perhaps nothing could be done. No, the mute chose to chew it himself. Finally, it was his ear. A new sun rose this morning, yet its first rays brought neither warmth nor nourishment. Over millennia, as sapiens moved toward colder lands, their skin lightened to better absorb ultraviolet rays and synthesize necessary vitamins. They had weaker sun exposure, but at higher altitudes, it remained insufficient. While asleep, Nada's eldest sister traveled to the other world. Her cold body stiffened like wood. Sapiens' beliefs were as numerous as nature's mysteries. For this tribe, there was no burial site. They offered bodies to the light, which consumed them and carried them to the land of the next life. Nada went with the dead to help them find their way. One day, she would find her sister in the land of the sun. They continued, having eaten nothing but snow for 3 days. Nada promised that at the end of the journey, night would not exist. This gave them courage, but courage did not nourish the weakest. Not every sapiens deserved ritual, some were left unburied. Nada knew her sister's pain. She felt the tribe's suffering, yet they could not stop. How did they survive? Were their animal hide clothes or rubbed fat enough? Conquering virgin lands demanded a high price. Sapiens set out, but they explored every region to benefit future generations. Now, their numbers were reduced to fewer than a handful. As their last strength, water emerged, and hope awakened again. 3 ice-covered figures approached, they were certainly animals. They needed food to survive their journey. Rocks. Many rocks. What were these rocks doing to the animals? A bird's feather, yet no meat. Others had been here, but who were they, and where did they come from? Why were these corpses trapped under rocks? Their skulls looked unlike ours. Nada was lost. The land of the suns was gone. Nothing to eat. No one could survive this hell. Perhaps only an extraordinary creature could. In this cold, hostile Europe, another human species was fully adapted, the Neanderthals. Nada and her companions opened the graves of their ancestors. Neanderthals were also descendants of Homo erectus, whose ancestors came to Europe 2 million years ago. Among all human species, Neanderthals were the strongest, the toughest.